Reading philosophy is not actually that hard. We naturally approach it like it's one big genre, when really it's 5 fundamentally different styles. Anyone who reads Plato the same way they read Kant is gonna have a hard time. That's like reading a cookbook the same way you'd read a novel. You're not stupid. You're just not yet familiar with the different philosophical styles of writing. Today we're gonna fix that, like, properly, because a lot of the reading advice out there for philosophy is just garbage. It's like,
take more notes, read slower.
But Mortimer Adler and Charles Van Doren broke down the 5 styles brilliantly in how to read a book. Today, I'm going to give you a quick 10-second ID test for each style and also tell you how to approach them with ease. You open up a book and there's a bunch of characters talking to each other. It kind of looks like a play. That's a philosophical dialogue. The undisputed master of this style is Plato. In fact, he hardly ever uses his own voice. He's kind of ventriloquisty like that. He famously used Socrates as one of his characters to just intellectually disembowel the idiot ideas of his contemporaries. Who's to say Socrates even existed?
I'm not listening to you, you're crazy.
Here's the test. There are lots of names, there's a lot of so-and-so said, it goes back and forth like a script, and somebody is getting like intellectually cornered. Your job here is to basically referee the conversation. Who's winning, so to speak, and what assumptions are getting exposed. Also, look out for the moment when the confident guy realizes he just has no idea what he's talking about anymore. It's not just the ancient Greeks too who use this style. Cicero, Diderot, Hume, Berkeley, to name just a few. Now let's say we pick up a book and we're just confronted with a big fat wall of text. It's all in direct address, it's structured in chapters, and there's heavy use of words like therefore and hence. Voila, that's a philosophical treatise. I bet this is what you think of when you think of philosophy. It's probably the most common style out there, popularized by Aristotle, perfected by guys like Locke and Kant. It's basically a linear, heavy, and heavily organized lecture. Don't get hypnotized or jaded by the big fat wall of text. Think of a treatise as a skeleton wearing an ornate suit of words. All you have to do is find the main thesis, list out all the starting premises, and outline the main arguments in bullet points.
That's it?
That's it.
And the fun part is that you'll see how the author develops his argument. You should be able to reduce a whole chapter to 5 main points or less. Also, don't highlight everything. That's just coloring in, and it's really not helpful. Now, you open a book and it looks like a schizophrenic's inner monologue. The author is literally talking out loud to themselves. They ask themselves questions, they object to themselves, they give themselves answers by literally saying shit like,
I answer that.
This is the Scholastic method. And Thomas Aquinas is probably the most well-known user of this form. This is arguably the most intellectually honest, if unbearable, of philosophical styles. Usually before the author gives his argument, he builds the strongest possible steelman against his case. So if you see like a literal list of objections and phrases like,
to that I say, I answer that by,
now you know what you're looking at. Tackle these by reading the objections first and restate them fairly in your own words. Then go back and read the author's answers and watch how they dismantle the objections point by point. It's a blood sport. If you ever find yourself thinking,
Did I just pick up the wrong book? This looks like a geometry textbook. It's just
proofs, axioms, propositions, corollaries, that's the mathematical style. This is hard mode. The iconic example is Spinoza's Ethics. The argument is basically built like a formal chain of dependencies. If everything inside the book is aggressively numbered, that's the mathematical style, and you cannot skim these books. If you don't understand Proposition 1, you will not understand Proposition 2. So here's the move. Create a cheat sheet, write down all the starting definitions and axioms, and if you get lost, don't power on. Just head straight back up the dependency chain. This style punishes lazy memories. So seriously, take this style seriously. You find yourself thinking again,
did I just pick up the wrong book?
Except this time it's like, where's the main argument? Where the hell is the proof? All I see are punchy claims and like zero connective tissue, this is the aphoristic style. This is the opposite of the mathematical style. Think Nietzsche or Pascal. You're just confronted constantly with provocative idea bombs, and you yourself have to build the structure around them. This style is pretty easy to recognize. It's composed of mainly short sentences and dramatic statements. An argument isn't constructed in the classical sense, so when you're reading it, don't try to force a linear progression. Think of it as like assembling a mosaic. Also, if you want to scribble for this one, I'd probably use a pencil instead of a highlighter so I can just tag with my own shorthand the aphorisms. Stuff like, what is this idea trying to attack? What is this idea trying to get me to do? What is it predicting? And what does it think is true? This is why this matters. Misreading a philosophy book is the fastest way to thinking that philosophy is just a bunch of academic nonsense. The cognitive load you're inflicting upon yourself by reading Nietzsche like he's Spinoza is like putting your pedal to the metal while the car is still in first gear. Just remember to take 10 seconds before you begin any philosophy book to identify the style. If you want an easy on-ramp, I'd say go for dialogues. If you want something vibey, aphorisms, a bit of a mental workout, go for Treatises, Scholastics. If you really want to injure your brain, go for the mathematical style. But remember, a book is never too clever for you. You didn't fail philosophy, you just misclassified it.